Starting June 1st, 2021, Consumers Energy is changing the way they bill most residential customers for electricity. Electrical energy charges during certain times of the day are going to cost 50% more. Sort of. The summer peak rate includes a peak period from June 1st through September 30th. The peak period consists of on-peak and off-peak rate prices. On-peak rate price from 2 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, the electricity rate will be about 1.5 times higher than the off-peak rate price. Off-peak rate price. Customers will pay a lower rate price for electricity used outside of on-peak times. This is the same rate you would pay October through May. So what does this mean for you and your electrical bill? Keep watching if you want a detailed explanation, but the short answer is that according to my math, everyone is likely to pay more per kilowatt hour than you did last year, which seems contrary to the official statements from consumers in which they claim a couple of interesting things. Most customers will see less than a $2 increase in their monthly bill without changing when or how they use electricity. And from their frequently asked questions, is this a rate increase? No, Consumers Energy will not be collecting more money under this new rate structure. Some customers may pay less on their bills while others may pay more, but we do not anticipate an increase in overall revenue. No increase compared to what, my friend? The latter statement is very interesting, since the cost per kilowatt hour appears to be higher in 2021 compared to a year ago. In my mind, the only way this statement can be true is if consumers expect customers to use less energy overall. I did a quick breakdown of electrical rates so we can compare a few different numbers. First, Consumers Energy normally charges different rates between summer and non-summer, which for simplicity I'll refer to non-summer as winter. Let's start by defining a kilowatt hour. So before anybody can be charged for energy use, society first decided to sit down and create a standard unit of measure. If, for instance, you drive an automobile with an internal combustion engine and go to a gas station, gasoline is priced as a certain cost per gallon. With electricity, it is priced as a cost per kilowatt hour. And I just want to say, before we get into the charts and graphs and the numbers, that while I believe the data is correct, I'm just a guy sitting in my basement making YouTube videos, and it is entirely possible that errors exist. One great thing about the internet is that the best way to find the right answer is to post something incorrect. People will be more than happy in the comments to let you know. Kilowatt hours are remarkably cheap. A kilowatt hour is equal to utilizing 1,000 watts for 1 hour. So in the good old days, when we had old-fashioned light bulbs with a tungsten element inside, it was common for people to use a 100-watt light bulb, and 10 of those being powered at one time would consume 1,000 watts. So if you ran 10 of those 100-watt light bulbs for an hour, that would be equal to 1 kilowatt hour. So how much do we pay for a single kilowatt hour? Well, this is where the electrical bill gets a little bit complicated, but the most logical method of figuring out how much you or I pay for a unit of electricity is to take the total amount of dollars and divide it by the number of kilowatt hours. In this bill from May of 2021, we used about 764 kilowatt hours, and the total cost was $137.92. So that works out to 18.04 cents per kilowatt hour. But if we go back in time and look at this bill from July of 2020, we used 1,253.839 kilowatt hours at a cost of $195.75, and that works out to 15.61 cents per kilowatt hour. So that's about 2.5 cents cheaper per kilowatt hour compared to a year ago. We can already see that 2020 summer rates were lower than 2021 winter rates. So we established that the rate we're currently paying for electricity is about 18.04 cents per kilowatt hour. So does that mean that the on-peak rate from 2 to 7 p.m. on weekdays is 1.5 times 18.04 cents? No, it's more complicated than that. If we go back to the bill and we remove taxes and fees, the cost per kilowatt hour is 15.98 cents. For simplicity, we can call it about 16 cents. And we arrive at this number by adding together energy charges plus distribution. Of the 16 cents per kilowatt hour, energy charges are equal to about 10 cents, while distribution is about 6. On top of that, there's another approximately 2.04 cents in taxes and other charges. It is my understanding that starting June 1st, 2021, the on-peak price for energy charges will be 1.5 times higher than the off-peak price. However, this increase only applies to energy charges and not distribution, taxes, or fees. Remember, energy charges are only one component of the cost. So if we look at the cost of energy charges plus distribution prior to June 1st, there was no peak or off-peak, it was just the winter price, and it was 15.9806 cents per kilowatt hour. Starting June 1st, the new off-peak price before taxes and fees is a fraction of 1 cent higher at about 15.9959 cents. It is close enough that we can call it about the same as the winter price. The on-peak price, however, goes up to 20.89 cents, or about a 30% increase over the off-peak price. Another way to look at it is that the new on-peak price is advertised as 50% more, but the reality is that if we include distribution, taxes, and fees, it's a lot less. Also interesting to note is that the taxes, fees, and miscellaneous charges have increased slightly over last year's prices. Your electric bill, starting this month, is not likely to go up 50% or even 30% because this increased price only exists during on-peak hours. And on-peak hours are only a total of 25 hours per week. There are 168 hours in a week, and 25 works out to about 15% of the total. So 85% of the time, you pay the off-peak rate, and the electricity actually costs about the same as you were paying last month. So using this math, it appears that everyone will pay more per kilowatt hour. Even if you used the same amount of energy you do now and used 0 kilowatt hours during peak hours, you will pay just slightly more than you did in May. Here is a chart showing a random day of electrical usage at my home. Each point on this graph represents an hour of energy use. If you added them all up, they would equal the total kilowatt hours I was billed for this particular day. I highlighted in red those that fall into the peak pricing hours. I then converted the kilowatt hours used to the price it would cost after June 1st. So just using this single day as an example, off-peak energy usage represents $3.82. On-peak usage is $1.25 for a total single day cost of $5.07. If peak pricing did not exist, I would have saved about 7 cents. And there are only 20 peak pricing days in a month. So if we extrapolate that 7 cents and we multiply it by 20, it equals a monthly increase to my bill of about $1.40, based upon the data for this single day. So the real takeaway from my research is not that peak pricing is likely to cost the average consumer significantly more money, but that even without peak pricing, the cost of electricity is significantly higher this year compared to 2020. Please feel free to double check my math. It will be especially exciting come July when actual data for peak pricing starts showing up on your bill. Thanks for watching. Questions, comments, leave them below. Bye bye.